Welcome back, friends. I'm glad to see you here again for this last video in our series on the passive voice. This is part of my academic or advanced academic writing series. So if you didn't watch the other videos, there are 3 other videos in this series. The first one starts on moving from active to passive. The second one is about the meaning of the passive voice. The third one is about the use, and this fourth one we're going to finally focus on the form. What does it look like? So if you watch the other videos, you've already kind of seen some of the examples of passive voice. So you're starting to get a feel for what it looks like. So in the simple present passive, you'll see a pattern here. The passive voice has a be verb and past participle. What changes among these different forms is what be looks like. Okay, so you're always going to have a past participle, all right? But the be form, this is going to change. All right, this changes depending on what tense you're using. That's the important lesson from this whole video, is what does be look like? So in the simple present passive, be looks like simple present, is. The information is posted on the bulletin board. The restaurant is located on the corner of Brown and Stewart. Documents are shared on the Google Drive. Okay, so all of these, we have a past participle. That's our second part. Let me label these 1 and 2, right? And the first part is the be verb. And that be verb changes depending on what the tense is. So at this point, I want to talk about something called the stative passive. And what I mean by that is, here's some examples. We have the be verb here, right? And this part, your past participle, is describing your subject. The elevator is broken. The door was locked. I'm bored. So in all of these, our past participle is describing the subject. And this is what's called the stative passive. And the reason I'm bringing this up is sometimes students get confused and they don't understand that this is passive voice. They think that, oh, this is just adjective. Well, actually, it's stative passive. In this one, no action is happening, right? There's nothing actually happening. We're just describing. There's no by phrase. That's an important difference. The elevator is broken by someone? No, we're not talking about that. We're just describing the elevator. And our past participle functions as an adjective. I should say that. It functions, it works like an adjective. Okay? Does that make sense? So it's similar when we say the elevator is old, the door is red, I am tall. So all of these words here, these are adjectives. And these words here, they're going to work like an adjective. All right, so it's a little bit different. Okay. All right, so what does simple past passive look like? We talked about present. So we saw a lot of examples of these in our previous videos. So the university was established in 1850. So again, this is in past tense. Our be verb changes to reflect past tense, and then we have past participle here. Patients were asked to complete the survey. Our office was moved from Stewart Hall to Moore Hall. Okay, so all of these are in simple past passive. With me so far? The reason that this is were is this is plural. This is singular. If you need a refresher on subject-verb agreement, I have a video on that. You can go out after this video and watch that subject-verb agreement. That's how you would find it. And office is singular, so that's why it's was. All right, now we can also have the present perfect with passive. What does that look like? We use either has or have plus been. So again, really all you need to consider is what the be verb looks like. This is all still be verb. It's just the present perfect form of it, right? So if you've learned present perfect, this makes sense. The only thing that you're doing differently here is you're changing be into have been or has been. So differences between the classes have been observed. This topic has been studied for many years. So also think about when you're reading and you've seen language like this in textbooks that you're reading or magazines or whatever, start to raise your awareness of, oh, that's that present perfect passive she was talking about. So that's present perfect. What does past perfect look like? Can you make a guess? So you know that present perfect looked like that. How would we make this past? Maybe you remember had? So had been plus past participle. So again, all you have to think about is what does that be verb look like in the past perfect? It's had been. So many complaints had been filed before the water was found to be contaminated. Ugh. No, everything's safe. Everything's totally fine. And we were like, really? After the movie had been filmed, the actor was fired. Oh, I wonder if he got paid. All right, so past perfect. All right, now our last iteration here is with modals. Now modals, we're going to see two different forms. One is for present and one is for past. Again, pay attention to that be verb. All right, grades can be found on our class site. So this one is simple, simple present, right? And what happens to be? We just keep it as be and we add our modal. Okay, so that's present. More time may be needed to finish the committee's task. Now notice this is not the same as the word maybe. Maybe is an adverb. Maybe you will come tomorrow. That's an adverb. But here we see two separate words, may be needed. Okay. So those are both present, right? So another form is in past, and this actually looks a little tricky. So what happens when we use a modal in the past with passive? Oh, you didn't think that. His death may have been caused by other factors. Okay, so it takes on a present perfect form. Sorry, present perfect form. But its meaning is past. Okay. The letter should have been sent last week. Okay. Still, both of these are just past. All right, so no matter which modal you choose, and there are a lot of them, we'll have videos about that in the future, use your modal, have been, and past participle for the past passive. That's specifically for past passive, okay? But again, only when you have a modal. This is not going to look like that when you have, let's go all the way back there too. Remember, simple past passive looks different. Okay? We're talking specifically about with modals. That was kind of fun, you know, when you go back and your words stay up there. It's funny. All right, quiz time. So pause the video here, and I want you to consider these examples. Are these sentences correct? I told you the situation. So take a minute, think about it, and if it's correct, don't do anything. If it's incorrect, see if you can fix it. All right, you ready? Let's do it. On a website for a conference, you read, the conference was held in Baltimore last year. Is that okay? That's okay. All right, no problem here. Because an organization holds a conference. So it's correct to use passive voice, and this form is good because we're talking about last year. Okay. How about 2? In a hospital policy, music can played in the delivery room. No. So we need the present because we're talking about in a general truth, a general statement of fact. So can be played in the delivery room. Okay. In an email from a teacher. All right, some items may have forgotten at the museum. Well, that's weird because items don't forget. Someone forgets items, right? Okay. All right, what's past passive? Something's missing. So this is an example of where you have to make sure you have your been in there. If you don't have been in there, it means that items forgot, not someone forgot items. So it's actually pretty important to remember that little word. Okay, friends, that is the end of this series on the passive voice. I'm so very glad you were here for it. If you have additional questions on the passive voice or examples that you want to talk about, or just anything that you want to discuss about passive voice, make sure you comment on this video, and I will see you next time we study together.